Okay, so with a little bit of luck, we should be getting audio here. Looks good. So just a quick little departure there. We're climbing out, indicating 62, getting 1,000 foot a minute, full throttle. RPM there is 5,200. Sorry, 65 now. We do go ahead and pitch up to a slightly higher speed. Let's go straight up to 60. Initially we'll see 1,200 foot a minute. However, this indicator here is overreading by about probably about 100 foot a minute, 200 foot a minute. Did timed climbs at 60 or 70, 60 and 50 knots. At 60 knots you're getting 800 foot a minute real climb. So we're indicating 1,000 foot a minute here. I'm really only getting about 800 foot a minute with a timed climb with this. And there's some static error there. As soon as the engine comes on, there's a static difference of about 20 feet. Indicated on the altimeter, and that static difference there is what's giving us a difference here in the vertical speed. And that's just with the engine at idle. So at full power, I'm guessing the full power with where the two static ports are down the prop blast, it's probably over indicating by roughly around 100, 150 foot a minute, which is why the gauge isn't reading correctly. Temperatures and pressures all run fine, but even with this indicator, I would be expecting to climb another 200 to 300 foot a minute. Right now we've got about 80 litres of fuel on board. So 80 litres of fuel, 100 kilo pilot, empty weight 300 kilos. So we've got about a aircraft weight, total aircraft weight of around 460 kilos, which is pretty light. We should be almost seeing 1,500 foot a minute, even if I was being very generous. So what I want to demonstrate here is just the stall speed of the aircraft is not even close to what we should be seeing. So I'm just going to pick somewhere. There's quite a lot of haze out here at the moment. We don't have a good AH in the aircraft, and I am expecting it to get a little bit angry. So I would like to have some kind of a horizon. We do have one over there. We're just approaching 3.5. We'll do these stalls at 3.5. And we'll do them clean. So why I'm indicating, why I'm talking about the climb rate isn't quite correct is it's just an indication of the aerodynamics of the aircraft, is it's not quite as clean as maybe it should be. What I mean by that is that it's really quite... There's some turbulence there caused by the leading edge. In cruise, we're only indicating at 5,000 RPM. I'm only getting around 84 knots indicated. So that was a max performance climb there. I'll just go ahead and roll the aircraft so I've got a horizon. There it is there. So speed's at 70 knots. I'm maintaining 3,500. We'll go ahead. It has been at full power, so I don't really want to shock cool the engine, but we do have a big radiator there, so we'll go ahead and accept the radiator. We don't really need to worry. So I'm just going to let the engine stabilise here for maybe 30 seconds, power at 4,000. It's looking good. Hassle checks are obviously complete. Switches are all on, lights are on. No need for the cabin light. Cool. So let's go ahead and slow the thing down. So I'm going to bring the power all the way to idle. And I'm going to go ahead and give myself a whole heap of nose-up trim. And we're going to maintain 3.5. So I'm already through 100 feet. So I'm just going to correct with a bit of power. So 3,400, 50 knots. Going to add trim. So I'm in trim here at 48 knots, hands off stick. 48 knots is about my minimum safe right now. And so, great. So I'm going to bring the power back to idle and we're going to go into a stall. And I'll talk my way through it. So there's 45 indicated. There's a bit of airframe buffet, 40. There we go. There's the brake. That's with about half, or I'm moving the stick back probably maybe 1-2 centimetres aft of neutral. So I'll just recover that 50 feet there. I can't go too far away from the airfield because I got last light considerations today. So let's go ahead and reconfigure. I'm just flying it out of trim. And let's go ahead and go into another stall. So there we go. We're through 60 knots, feet are neutral, power's at idle. 50 knots, 48. Here comes 45. Buffet, buffet, there's the brake. Not moving the stick, I'll go ahead and make another, just raise the nose here a little bit. There's residual, here's a secondary stall about to come. Secondary stall, there's 41, 42, and there's the nose brake. It is a little bit gentle, but I would be expecting this to be at 36 knots. So I'm going to go ahead, turn the aircraft around. We'll deploy the flaps. I'll track back towards northern. I haven't done a flap with stall, and the stall, there's no buffet coming through the stick here, so I'm not getting a elevator stall. What I am getting is a full wing stall with quite a lot of airframe buffet, and as you can see, there's quite a lot of nose brake, and that's not being aggressive with the stick. I'm adding probably 500 grams of stick force there just to bring the stick back. So here we go, speed's below 60, wait for 55. There's 55. So here comes full flap. There we go. Full flap, power's going to come to idle. And I'm just going to go ahead and raise the nose, just with some trim here. I do want to have a little bit of forward trim, so I'm going to accept being out of trim here. We're expecting probably off the airspeed indicator. So let's go ahead, reduce that power. We're through 3.2. There's 35 knots. 32. There's buffet. A lot of right stick pressure, 34. There's the stall. There's a little bit of airframe buffet I can feel coming through the pedals. 30. There we go, we're actually coming back there nicely. No, we are in a rated descent there. Just go ahead and just recover here. There's 40. Power's going to come back, all the way to idle. There it is. Let's stop it descending. A little bit more rudder, so I'm at 28. With the flaps, we're not doing too bad. We are in a stall there, however, but there is no pitch brake. So we'll go ahead and recover. So it looks like the problem is with flap. Without flap, correction. So with flap, the aircraft seems to be flying okay. So I'm now through 2,800. Now both of those stalls there were in a descent, so they weren't quite a they weren't quite a full 1G stall. So I just need to get some speed here, get above 50. We'll get rid of these flaps. Okay, flaps are all the way. There's 60. I'm at 2,800. Let's just do one more clean, and let's just see what we get. Power's all the way. There's through 50. 2,700. There's 40. 42. There's a whole heap of brake. There's a brake there at 38. That was losing 100 foot during the stall. So we'll just recover. Let's go ahead, nose back on the horizon. Power's all the way to idle, all the way to idle. We'll hold it off at 327. There's the brake at 42, and it's there's a bit of a pitch brake there. Cool. So I think we're just about out of time. Yep. I've got just a few minutes here, so the airfield's just down there below me, so we'll be landing in approximately 2 minutes. I'll keep the camera on so you can see the landing. I'll stay at 60 knots. I could pull the flaps out here. We'll just be landing 3-2. Northern traffic, Savannah 1689 is 1 mile. Northern end of the field will be descending in a spiral for runway 14, full stop, northern. Okay. The glide performance is probably another indication of the actual aerodynamics of the aeroplane. So if I bring it back to best glide, which I did find with this aeroplane was roughly around 55 knots, so power all the way at idle. I'm in trim here using about maybe 3/4 nose up trim. Stick is neutral, aircraft flies straight. We're looking okay here. I'm getting 500 foot a minute. I think that's about right. Maybe could be a little bit less. At this weight, maybe I'd be expecting maybe 400 foot a minute. Maybe not quite this high. 500 foot a minute isn't a lot, but just I really think these leading edges are being quite a problem. It's almost at circuit height, at 1,500 feet. I'll just make a right-hand turn. It's an abnormal arrival here, obviously. There's no one in the air because of all this smoke. Landing lights are on, everything else is on, carb heat. Go ahead, pull that on now because we have been in an extended idle. I'd rather not have an engine failure here on the way down. So there's circuit height. We'll go ahead and make a right-hand turn. At 65, we're looking okay. Aiming for the sheds, and we'll slow to 60 and we'll go for flat. Northern traffic